Here we're sitting here with sis. Um, it's always tough for me to speak on this topic.
Mhm.
You know, when it comes to our young black men and violence, because we have spent most of our lives in business part, um, dealing with men behind bars,
Mhm.
encouraging them to, while they're there, search their spirit to find out why they're here.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, they have to be in the 6x9 to find out how great they are.
Mhm.
So this is always very difficult for me.
My youngest son is incarcerated.
How old is your son? How old is he?
He is 25, 26.
Where is he?
In Smyrna.
He's at Smyrna.
Mhm.
How much time does he have?
2 more years.
2 more years.
He went in a year before he passed.
Wow, sis.
Yeah. And I just had the 2 boys. I haven't much missed the 2 boys.
So, what's his name? If you don't mind.
Nigel.
Nigel.
Mm-hmm.
You said he's younger.
Yes, he's younger.
Okay. How old?
He's the oldest.
Tell me about your son. Tell me
Marcus.
Tell me about Marcus. The book is called 4 a.m. Tell me about Marcus.
Marcus, my oldest, born March 9th, 1989.
Oh, nice. Good
Yeah.
heart. Yes.
Yeah. He had a wonderful
I know
heart.
he did.
Wonderful heart. He was such a good kid. That's why when he passed, it was really, really hard for me to conceive why this happened to him. Even it still hasn't sunk in yet. You know why this happened to him.
It's been how long now?
6 years this year.
Wow.
6 years in October 8th of this year. It was just, I don't know. I have no answers. I'm still searching for those answers. I know I might not ever get it,
Right.
but I'm still searching for those answers. Marcus was a hard worker and smart as a whip. My mother used to say that he had a photogenic memory,
Right.
Personality, because
Right.
he could just recite, so many things just in a short period of time of learning something. He taught himself chess. He loved to play chess. He went to, he graduated from Job Corps, Potomac in D.C.
Mm-hmm.
I had got, actually I'm not sure if I put him in there, but I had got some letters, not of recommendations, but just from the teachers of Marcus's from there, just in general, they talk about how much they just loved having him there, how much of a good kid he was, and how much personality he had. But then on top of that, the recommendations that he had was just, outstanding as well. He got a job, 6 months, 7 months after graduating, and he was with that job up until the time that he passed. Good paying job. I think for a lot of kids his age, it really would have set him on the right track as far as, being financially responsible and having money in his pocket and no worries and so forth.
What was his goals for life? What did he want to do? Did he ever say?
He never said. I know closer to in working in his job, I know he had said to me, Mom, I want to go back to school. And he said it to me on 2 separate different occasions, with some time between each one. So the first time I just kind of laughed it off, like, yeah, right, you just saying that.
Right.
And the second time he said it, I kind of said, Marcus, is it over a girl? And he just kind of,
okay. Well, that's a good motivation. Even a girl, or that's a good reason to go back to school.
Right.
Okay,
right.
So I'll take that.
Right. But after he had passed and going through his things, I kind of seen some stuff that he collected from Del Tech, from the Wilmington campus, as far as like admissions and schedules, and he was researching.
He was researching.
Yeah. So, but he never really said what he wanted to do.
Right. Marcus's dad, is he around?
Marcus's father died when he was 2, so he never knew his father, which really kind of broke my heart.
Mm-hmm.
So when my youngest son when they got not to that age, but my youngest son was about 4, he started spending more time with his father.
Okay.
And one day he had left to go with his father, and Marcus started crying. I mean, he was like, "I want my dad," and it just pulled on my heart. Like, oh my gosh, well, I didn't know what to, I'm trying to raise this, not knowing how to raise a man, not knowing how to raise a boy. I didn't know what to say, what to do, and I just, remember it to this day that he wanted his father.
And that speaks on family, the dynamics, mom and dad.
Yeah.
It's important for children to have those individuals in their lives. I remember my niece said to me one day, my son's father, he died when Jordan was 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one day my niece, I think it was Lachelle, said to me, I want to be just like Auntie M. Just want to have my kids and no husband. I said, no.
Mm-hmm.
Have the husband.
Right.
Get married, do it the right way, because he will need that support.
Right.
So listening to you with Marcus wanting his father age 2, Jordan lost his dad at age 4.
Right.
So I know how you felt
Right.
when that occurred, because I didn't know what to do, how I was going to raise a little boy. So I just opted to raise a good human being.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
I think maybe you did the same
did
thing
my
too.
best, yeah.
I know you did, because the way we talked about Marcus, seemed like you were raising a good human being.
Yeah.
So what happened to your better? I mean, what did they tell you happened with Marcus and his dad?
His father was in a car accident and it broke his neck. He was down south somewhere and the car accident broke his neck.
Wow.
We weren't together at the time, and
Right.
we were, civil with each other, but we weren't, together at the time.
That's such a loss.
Yeah.
Such a loss. So now here you have Marcus and your other son,
Nigel.
And Marcus not being here.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
He was, he was shot October 8, 2011 at a gas station down in Dover. It was about 1:45 in the morning. Maybe, no, I'm sorry, 1:52 in the morning when he got shot. And I'm actually just learning the exact time as of last week.
And that's interesting. You remember the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important sometimes when we lose someone for us to remember exactly what happened, exactly what time.
Well, that's just it. Up until last week, I didn't. Yeah. It was more or less me just going by what someone tells me, and then my mind trying to piece it all together.
Right.
I'm the type of person where my mind is, I got to know the exact things of how things happen.
It's your child.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I want to know, which way the car was facing, how many people were there, and it's those little things that I felt that I had to know.
Was this a random situation, or was?
At first, they thought it was random because it was 3 people involved, and they did not know my son. So they kind of thought that in the newspaper they kind of put it like it was a gang initiation. You know how if you want to join this gang, you got to go out and shoot somebody. That's what at first what they thought it was. But after, I guess, the police did their investigation and so forth, they found out that he was targeted. Why, again, I don't have those answers.
Was he coming from work or just?
He was, I'm from Dover, originally from Dover.
Okay.
At the time I was living here in Wilmington, just actually right down the road. And so Dover to them was home. So when he came home on the weekends from working, to Dover he went. That's where his friends was. That's what he knew. Not saying he didn't have friends up here, but he wanted to be in Dover. Right. When I moved up to Wilmington, he was the one that didn't want to come to Wilmington. He was like, I don't want to leave, but he had to come. So to Dover he went. So he was hanging out with friends. This particular night he was by himself. He was coming from a party, and they stopped at a gas station that, to my knowledge now, it was a gas station that it was like a hangout after parties and so forth.
Was Marcus killed by one of his own people?
Yes.
Okay. How does that? I I have this. I have my own theory and philosophy about how we are living with one another today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I want to charge my brothers, the older ones, with the responsibility of grabbing the youth. Like I grab a young brother and say, "Hey, what's up? How you doing?"
And that's another thing about Marcus. I recall, I tell everybody this, but there was a situation when he was in school, and Marcus was the type of person that had everybody's back. Even if he didn't know you, he had your back.
I know he did. He's a Pisces. Okay, his sign.
Yeah. This particular time in school, it was a male picking on a female. Marcus stepped in, didn't know the female, but he stepped in to, I don't know exact, what he did or whatever like that. But when the school called me, they told me what had happened. Marcus had gotten into a fight, and Marcus said, "Mom, he was picking on this girl, and he da-da-da-da-da." And I couldn't even be mad. He got suspended for fighting, but I couldn't be mad.
But no, he was doing, I think, what I would say is honorable.
Exactly.
He was being honorable.
Exactly.
Which leads me to, again, do you see the honor with adults presently when it comes to our children, when it comes to violence? Do you think enough is being done?
No, not at all. Not even close. Like we were speaking off camera earlier. There's a lot of lip service and no service,
right?
And it just got to a point where I stopped doing certain functions because of that,
right?
Why? What's the point of talking about it if you ain't gonna do nothing about it? And it's sad to say I did a couple of down in Dover. I did a couple of events where it was political, and they would ask me, okay, well, what is your platform?
Right.
And I don't have a platform. This is just me telling you what happened.
Right.
This is what guns did to my son. What other? I'm not trying to get you elected. Right. I'm not trying to set a platform for you. I just want you to tell me what you can do for me, what you can do for the community,
and
so that this doesn't have to happen again.
It's interesting when you said the word platform. That is the new terminology we're using today.
Yeah.
So truly, you're right in saying it's not real.
Right.
It's political for them.
Right.
But here you are, and I know. I know because of the pain and the suffering that I went through from hearing the loss of other people's children, other women and men, that we are close to. Which leads me to Nigel. When he heard of his brother's passing, he was incarcerated.
Yes.
How's he dealing with that?
I don't know. He won't talk to me about it. He did when I gave him the news. It was kind of a hassle. Well, it wasn't a hassle, but it took about 3 days because I wanted to tell Nigel before he heard it anywhere else. But there was some kind of mix up at the prison, and I was scheduled to go and tell him, but then something happened. They wouldn't let me in, so I had to wait and do it all over again. Phone calls had to be made to get me back in there.
He wasn't able to come to go to the funeral
because he hadn't been processed. Right.
Okay.
Right. He wouldn't let him go. So that hurt me, and me telling him, I had to tell him behind a glass. They couldn't just put us in a room because I wanted so desperately just to put my arms around him, but he just was like, I could see the shock in his eyes,
right.
But I think he was trying to hold back for me. So.
And right there, that's when we start lobbying. That's the grounds right there to start lobbying. We have these officials who say they represent the community, represent the people. Devastating news as that. You shouldn't have to tell that child, your brother is going through glass or through the phone.